Hey everyone, I'm Tara. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a yoga flow to work on quad and hip flexor flexibility. Putting the hip flexors and quads together in a practice just makes sense because part of your quad is also a hip flexor, so one of your quad muscles also functions as a hip flexor. So it makes sense to pair them together to work on their flexibility. So that's our focus for today. Before we get into the practice, if you're not subscribed, maybe take a moment to subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. And with all that said, we'll start our practice today in kneeling. Okay, so starting in kneeling at the back of our mat. If kneeling is uncomfortable for you, you could always place a block or two under your pelvis to lift you a little higher to make kneeling more comfortable. So go ahead and place your hands on your thighs, close your eyes, and just connect within for a moment, bringing yourself into the present moment, and maybe just finding connection with your breath. Although we're focusing more on the physical body and working on flexibility today, it's still yoga, so it's important to remember our body-mind connection. And you can blink your eyes open. Before you get into working on flexibility, it's really important to warm up through the muscles. So staying in kneeling, but maybe bring your knees a little bit further apart so that you have about a fist or 2 fist distance between the thighs, okay? Hands are gonna be on the hips. Lift up into high kneeling, okay? Once you're here, just find your comfortable position so that the legs are hip width apart. We're gonna flow on and off from here. So bring your hands into prayer. Start to lower your hips down, keeping your spine straight. So you're lowering your butt down toward your heels. Okay, and then you're gonna rise back up using the glutes, and you're gonna be also using the quads. Okay, so inhale as you lower down, nice and slow and controlled. Use the glutes to lower. As you exhale, lift back up. Inhale, lower, slow and controlled. Exhale, power back up. Inhale, lower. Exhale up. Inhale, lower. You got this. Exhale up. Keep going. 2 more at your own pace. Warming up through the quads. And the glutes are getting some activity as well. Okay, after that, go ahead and come to all fours. So on your hands and knees, as always, check in with your alignment, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Slight bend in your elbows. Okay, reach the right leg out, hold it here, find your stability, feel the core kick on. Keep your toes pointing down. And then you're gonna bend your right knee, so bringing your heel toward your butt, it doesn't have to get there, that's the direction you're thinking about, and then straightening the right knee. Holding this here, keeping the pelvis stable, bending on and off. Okay, so this is going to be strengthening through your hamstring, but it's also giving you some active stretching through the quad. One more here. Straighten out and hold for an extra breath. Step the right leg forward into a low lunge. Lift up, and you're going to stay higher in your low lunge here. So we're not sinking into the hips, staying lifted, hands in prayer. Okay? Start to kick on those adductors, so feeling like the legs are squeezing in together, lifting you a little higher. Let the tailbone drop down, and then start to reach the arms up. Okay, so low lunge, but in this little bit of a higher variation. 2 breaths. Hands come down, bordering the right foot. Step the right foot back so you're on all fours. Reach the left leg out and hold. Find your stability. Keep your toes pointing down. Core kicks on, spine is nice and straight. Bend the left knee in, keeping the leg lifted where it is. Don't let it fall down, and then straighten the left leg out. So on and off here at your own pace. Core stays engaged, breath stays steady. 2 more. Straighten leg, hold it for an extra breath. Step left foot forward between your hands, lift yourself up into your low lunge. Again, find that stability. So you're really in a higher variation of low lunge, so you're not sinking in, okay? You're thinking about the inner thighs squeezing together, lifting you higher, tailbone drops down, okay? So this is a really active pose. Breath is steady, arms reach up. Breathe and hold. 2 more breaths. Place the hands down to border the left foot. Step back to all fours. Tuck the toes. Send yourself back into your downward dog. Hold downward dog and breathe. Maybe having a deep bend in the knees. Really working to get the hips up to the sky. Breath is steady. From here, step the right foot forward between your hands. So really pull that right knee up and in. Step it forward, lift up into crescent lunge, high lunge here. Hold and breathe. Straighten through the back knee. Sink down into the front knee, but be mindful of your alignment so the knee's in line with your ankle. And breathe. Maybe pushing the back heel toward the back of the mat. Starting to open through that left hip flexor. 2 breaths. Hands come down to border the foot. Step it back to downward dog. 1 breath. And left foot steps forward. Really pull that foot up and in. Step it between the hands. Lift up, crescent. Breathe. Back knee is nice and straight. Sink down into the front knee. Press the back heel toward the back of the mat so you get a little calf stretch too. And the arms reach up. So reaching through those fingertips will help open through the hip flexor even more. 3 breaths. Hands come down, bordering left foot. Step it back, downward dog. Take a breath. Left foot comes to center line. Reach the right leg up, finding length, extending through the right toes. Keep the shoulders square. Breathe. Bend through the right knee, open the hip a little further. Feeling into that quad opening. And then step the right foot forward between your hands. Drop the back knee down, untuck back toes, lift up, low lunge, Anjaneyasana. This time, feel free to sink a little lower into the hips, okay? So instead of saying, you can stay high if that feels better, or you could start to sink. Hands start in prayer, and then you reach them up to the sky, extending through the fingertips. Soften down through the tailbone, letting it drop down a little bit to open further through the left front hip, the left hip flexor. Breathe here. One more breath. Hands come down to border the right foot. Tuck under your back toes, lift the back knee, step it back, down dog. Breathe. And then right foot comes to center line. Reach the left foot up. Point through the left toes. Keep the shoulders square. 3-legged dog. And then bend the left knee, opening through the hip and the quad a little deeper. Bring the left foot forward, step it between the hands, drop back knee, untuck back toes, lift up, low lunge, Anjaneyasana. So check in Through your alignment here, do you want to stay lifted or do you want to sink into the knees? Either way, still allow the tailbone to drop down a little bit. That's going to open further through the hip flexor. Arms are up, getting that opposing action. So as you sink down, reaching through the fingertips, 3 breaths. Hands come down to border the left foot. Tuck under back toes, lift back knee, step back down dog. From downward dog, start to walk your feet up toward your hands. Once they're there, roll yourself up to standing. Okay, from here, have a slight bend in your left knee. Bring the right foot in, holding the outside of the right ankle for a quad stretch here, okay? So you could either hold with one hand or 2. Bring the shoulders back and down, okay? And then allow the tailbone to drop down just a little bit and you'll feel that deep in the quad stretch. Hold and breathe. So a little balance while we stretch. Okay, you can stay here or we'll move into dancer. So if the left hand was gripping the foot, let it go. Left arm reaches out in front. Push the right foot into the right hand. Start to pitch forward, lifting up into dancer pose. Breathe and hold. Keep that slight bend in the standing knee. One more breath. If you're in dancer, slowly lower down. And everyone bring the right foot down to the ground. Okay, moving to the other side. Slight bend in the right knee. Left foot comes in into your quad stretch. So you could hold with one hand or both hands. Both hands will give you a little more of like a chest opening while you're here. Okay. So slight bend in the standing knee. Drop the tailbone down. Chest is open, shoulders down and back. Breathe and hold. Okay, you could stay here or keeping the left hand on the left ankle, the right arm's gonna go out in front. Press the left foot into the left hand, pitch yourself forward, opening out into dancer. Nadarajasana. Breathe. Breath is steady. Find a point to focus on that'll help the balance. 2 breaths. Slow and control. Come down out of the posture. Drop the left foot down. Both feet together at the top of the mat. Slight bend in the knees, hands down at your sides. Ground into Tadasana for a moment. Connect with your breath. Okay. On your next inhale breath, reach the arms up. Find length. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, come up through flat back. As you exhale, step it back to downward dog. Hold and breathe. And then come forward into plank pose. Start to allow the hips to fold down. Moving into upward dog, but with the toes tucked. Breathe here. You could also do just regular cobra. You could do sphinx, whatever feels good. If you're in upward dog, really press through the hands. Keep yourself lifted. Breathe. One more breath. Weave it back through plank, through downward dog. One breath in down dog. And then you're going to bring the right leg forward and sit down into pigeon. So the right knee goes toward the right hand. Scoot the left leg back into your pigeon pose. Blocks are great. You could always put a block under the hip to make this more accessible. And you could either have the foot tucked in Or you could open the hip deeper by bringing the foot further out, okay? Whatever variation feels good, and it might be different side to side. Breathe here. Press up on the fingertips, find length. Feeling that extension through the back hip flexor. Breathe. Place your palms down, and then we're gonna add a quad stretch, or you could stay here if that feels better. If you want the quad stretch, you're gonna bend through the back knee, hold on with your left hand, and then you start to lean forward into the stretch. Keep the hips squared down toward the mat, and breathe. You could also use a strap to hook around the foot if you can't reach your foot and you want to do this variation. Release the foot if you have it. Okay. Everyone come back up onto the fingertips. Find extension through pigeon again. Broadening through the chest. And then the hands place down. Drag the right foot back. Step yourself back to down dog. And switch sides. Left foot drags forward into your pigeon. So left knee behind left wrist. Right leg is back. Again, see what variation feels good. Does it feel better to have the foot tucked in? Or does it feel better to have more rotation and bring the foot further out? Again, it might feel different side to side. Okay, breathe. Use blocks if you need. Everyone prop up on the fingertips, extend through the chest, draw the shoulders down and back. Breathing here. Okay, and then come back so the palms are flat. So either staying in regular pigeon or getting that quad stretch. So bending the back knee, holding it with a hand or a strap. So if you're doing the hand, the right hand will hold on to the right outer ankle. Keep the hips squared down toward the mat. So sometimes you want to open out to the right, square yourself down, and you can lean forward as you pull the right heel in. Breathe here. Two more breaths. Release the right foot down. Plant the hands down. Come up onto the fingertips again. Find that extension, and you might find that you feel you have a little more mobility now after you've been holding this pose for a little bit. The hands are going to plant down. Tuck under the back toes. Press yourself back to down dog. Hold downward dog for 3 breaths. Drop down to the knees. Sit back into kneeling. You could also sit cross-legged if that's better for you. You choose. Hands on the thighs, palms facing up. Sit up nice and tall. Close your eyes. Draw all your awareness back within. Feeling how the body feels right now. Feeling any shifts in the body, in your energy. Just taking this mindful moment to find stillness and connect within. Remembering that through practices like this, yes, we are working on our physical body, but to really make this yoga, we need to find that deeper connection, to connect within, to take those moments of stillness. Take a few more breaths here. Maybe bring your hands into the hip creases here. Just connecting here since we worked this area. We opened through this area. Just connecting with this part of your body. And then bring your hands into prayer at your heart. And we'll close with the breath together. Nice deep inhale. Exhale, let it go. Returning to your comfortable breath. Blinking your eyes open and releasing your hands down. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste. Thank you guys for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed that flow. Please like and comment below. It really does help my channel. And if you do want to support me further, I do have a Patreon, and on there you'll get really nice long yoga flows, and it's just a way to deepen your yoga practice and start to, one, get these longer flows, but two, start to bring your yoga practice beyond the mat. I'll put a link to that in the description down below. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.